Hello, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pick a Side Podcast. Right now, I'm here with a sad Bulls fan and a sad Nets fan.
And
the
NBA. Tell them your team.
I'm a Knicks fan. I ended off the season on a high note because the Knicks won the last game of the season. And RJ Barrett had 26 points, so I'm totally fine with that. But we're all a little bit saddened because the NBA has been canceled. March Madness has been canceled. Hockey has been canceled. Baseball has been canceled. Everything has been canceled, even school.
Who cares about hockey?
And my job's still not canceled.
Yeah, our jobs are still not canceled. They still have us going in.
Somebody in my job got the flu.
And he passed it on to me.
Oh!
So these guys both, they might have corona next week. Episode might be canceled, but we're on to better things. First topic. We're gonna talk about 4 topics. They're gonna be were the Titans a one-year wonder? Who had the better MVP year, Cam Newton or Lamar Jackson? Next topic will be, is the NBA Hall of Fame too easy to get into? And the final topic is, will the Warriors go on another 3-year run? This topic, River will be moderating, so you can take the floor.
Let's get right to it. Ryan Tannehill, the Titans, are they one-year wonders? Joel, yes or no? We know you're a Ryan Tannehill lover, so we need your honest, unbiased opinion, which means nothing stupid.
My unbiased opinion is, yes, they're one-year wonders. And I say this because you got free agents and Logan Ryan. He matters. Guys like Mariota, he kind of matters. Tannehill matters. Jack Conklin matters. And Derrick Henry, he matters.
Mariota doesn't matter, but continue.
Mariota does matter. He does matter. Okay. I think he matters. Not as a backup, but I'm saying if Tannehill chooses to go elsewhere, he matters.
You think he can win games?
Mariota, he can win games.
All right, keep going.
I'm not even going to get into that because Marcus Mariota has went 9-7 with the Titans multiple times and led a 24-point comeback against the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. So he can win games.
I don't care about nothing
so
you just said.
He can win games. I'm just saying. Yes, they're one-year wonders, but the players that they cut, the free agents, they were Delaney Walker, Cameron Wake, Deion Lewis, and Ryan Suckup. I don't think any of them matter. Cameron Wake played 9 games. He started none of them. Delaney Walker was injured for most of the season. Deion Lewis is a third down back. And when you got Derrick Henry, he doesn't matter. So the players that they cut don't matter, but I think the division is so tough. Indy's going to get better. Houston is going to be there. And we all know what a train wreck Jacksonville is, so they're not going to do anything. But the Titans, it's just going to be a long shot for them to make the playoffs again. And from the adrenaline that they felt last season, I don't think it translates into this next season.
Jumping to you, JC. Are the Titans a one-year wonder?
I do not think the Titans are one-year wonders.
Wow.
I will say this. If they can bring back the core players, which I do think that they will come back, if they can bring back the core players, I don't think that their division has any dominant team in it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we should crown Houston as like the champions of the division.
Well, they've won the division 2 years in a row.
I mean, but what they won it with like subpar records. You know what I mean? Now listen. I want to address that. Marcus Mariota was starting for the first 4 games. If Ryan Tannehill was starting, I can make a real debate.
Weren't
that
they 1-3 when Mariota was starting?
Yes, like it was bad. No, 1-4. 1-4, and then he came back against the Chiefs and won. I would say if we were to give Ryan Tannehill,
he's a winner
from week 1 there, I feel like the record would have been different. You got to keep Logan Ryan, you got to keep Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry. I feel like he's finally clicking as a running back. I feel like this postseason showed me that he has potential to be a top 2 running back in the league consistently. They got to lock him up. I like their head coach. So I'm going to say that I expect that the Tennessee Titans are going to win the division next year and will make the playoffs. They will host a home playoff game. You heard it here.
Well, with the young guys on the Titans, you got A.J. Brown who can get better.
Yes.
You got a lot of guys out
Good
there.
receiver.
You got Adoree Jackson who can get better. You spoke on how the division is tough, which I kind of chuckled at. Yeah. The Jaguars suck. The Colts have a quarterback problem, and even if they fill in one of your favorite guys, Phillip Rivers, I don't think it'll do much. But so it really comes down to the Texans and Titans.
No,
I don't think has an outside shot.
I mean, look.
You said the Jaguars, so let's ignore them.
No, we're going to ignore the Jaguars. Speculate. We're going to take the Jaguars.
Yeah, the Jaguars, we're ignoring them. Mm-hmm. What if Tom Brady goes to the Colts? That's a possibility.
Holy cow, that's okay. Yeah. I thought you were your speculations. I thought you were going to say Phillip Rivers go to the Colts, and if Phillip Rivers goes to the Colts, it doesn't really change much for me.
Now, I think that if Phillip Rivers goes to the Colts, he's way better than Brissett right now, at least.
I think he's better.
And he could win games.
T.Y.
I'm not saying that they're a dominant team, but I don't think that. Look, you got to understand, Phillip Rivers is going to be playing in warm weather everywhere he goes. That's a huge advantage for him, for a guy who's old. You know, that's a huge advantage. You got one of the better offensive lines, and they're stacked in money this offseason to go out and make moves.
You do know 8 of his games were in warm weather, right? Mm-hmm. He plays in Los Angeles.
Okay.
There's a possibility his road games, first of all, Houston.
It's hot.
It's hot, very hot. Then you got Jacksonville. Jacksonville gets cold. It gets cold. It gets hot. It goes up and down. Then you got Indianapolis.
Jacksonville is in Florida. It doesn't get cold and gets hot. It's just hot.
Okay. The lowest that I've ever seen is like 55, 57.
55 can be cold for a guy who's played in Los Angeles his whole life.
50, no, but come on, that's not cold.
It's not
Kansas
cold.
City is cold.
New Jersey is cold.
Kansas City is cold.
New Jersey. If you ask a Florida,
Denver is cold.
If you ask a California person what's cold, they're gonna say 50 degrees. You ask a Florida person what's cold, they're gonna say 50 degrees because they're used to hot weather. 50 degrees is cold to us, who we've seen 10 degrees, 20
negatives.
degrees. Negatives. That's cold. That's not cold to us.
Yeah. Look, that's something we're gonna have the audience answer. Because 55 degrees is not cold. I don't think he's cold. I don't think it's cold.
Yo, Joel, side question. Do you think if they give Ryan Tannehill the keys to start the season, do you think they're going to have a better record than they did last year?
A 9-7 record, they possibly can have a better record.
So
but they got to bring back these guys. They got to bring back Henry.
I agree.
They got to bring back Conklin.
Logan Ryan.
And I feel like I keep saying the P word, the D word when I say Conklin, but I don't mean it in that way. I mean it with an N and K, not a C-O-C-K.
Bro, we get it.
But I'm just saying, I just think that they got to get their main guys back. If they can get their main guys back, including Logan Ryan, they can possibly make another run. But I don't think that they'll make the splash that they made in terms of winning 2 away games. Do you
think it's because of? Do you think Ryan Tannehill's season was a one-year wonder? That's the better question. And who's more important, Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry to the team?
Derrick Henry is more important to the team, but that's a 1A and 1B scenario because Ryan Tannehill was the man of hill. We know that. The thing with him is that he's never been a bad quarterback. Mm-hmm. He just finally had weapons around him, and he was able to elevate the team. I think that maybe he won't have the same QB rating, and he won't be as efficient,
right?
But he'll definitely have a good season if he starts the next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they're gonna host a playoff game and win the division next year.
They ain't gonna win the division. They ain't gonna win the playoff game the way they did last year if their quarterback is throwing 80 yards. I'm sorry.
I mean, they won 2 games like that
because of Derrick Henry. He ran wild.
Now think about it. Let's say if Ryan Tannehill has a good game and Derrick Henry has a great game.
Do we think he could win on that level in the playoffs?
I don't know. I mean, I have to see more. I've only seen it one time. All I know is that when he touched down, they started getting better.
To be fair,
They started getting better.
But you act like he didn't have 3 touchdowns against the Ravens. He did have 3 touchdowns.
It was a solid.
It depends what your definition. I feel like a good game for Ryan Tannehill is maybe 115 yards in the playoffs, 3 touchdowns, no picks, no turnovers. You do what you have to do. I feel like sometimes we get caught into seeing Mahomes' stats and seeing how great they are, and then trying to base Ryan Tannehill's game off that.
QB in the league, I don't think that should be defined as a good. I don't think he played necessarily bad.
Well, he's not the best player on the offense. It's Derrick Henry.
I think too much as people who watch the game, we say he didn't have good stats, he didn't have good this. Each week the coaches,
he was a game manager.
But each week the coaches design a game plan and they go by that game plan.
Yeah.
No one person's bigger than the team. So you got to go with the game plan that the coach gives you. No one man's bigger than the team.
I know. I just think the game plan for the Titans was obvious
to run the ball.
Yeah, run the ball because their best player on offense is Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay, now on to the next topic. It's Cam Newton versus Lamar Jackson. JC, you can take the stage on this one.
Okay, guys. Who had the better MVP year, Cam Newton or Lamar Jackson? Who's gonna go first on this heated debate?
You want to go first?
I went first last one. You could go first this
Rib, take the floor. See what you have to say.
First, let me start off by saying I respect both players. Go ahead and say Lamar Jackson had an incredible season. Just want to throw this in the air. I respected Lamar all season. I liked what he did this year. I liked how the coach schemed for him and made plays for him and adjusted to his game. I want to say that to start off the day. Let me start off by saying Cam is still a very good quarterback. I hope he gets healthy and gets back to playing the way Cam's playing. Now, to the question at hand. Who had the better MVP season? I think Cam. And why I say Cam is not just because of the numbers. You can look at the numbers and say this, that, and the third. I'm gonna say because of the impact. You look at that Ravens team, right? Mm-hmm. You look at that Ravens team. You look at that Panthers team. Take Lamar Jackson away. You take Cam away. Who was the better team? It's no question. It's the Ravens. No question in my mind. There's no question in my mind. The Panthers had one tight end. The Ravens have three.
Yeah. Running back.
The Panthers had a running back of Jonathan Stewart. He didn't have 1,000 yards. Mark Ingram did. Lamar did. Cam, man, he may not have the gaudy 1,001K. The man had 35 TDs. He had 10 interceptions. Oh, and don't forget, he led his team to the Super Bowl. I think that should speak for enough. He played in the NFC. The man, Lamar Jackson, he lost to Ryan Tannehill. I'm sorry. Just Cam Newton is not doing that. It's just, no offense to Ryan Tannehill. I know he's a good quarterback and all that. But you lost to a 9-17 and you were 13-3? Come on. One guy lost to Von Miller. The other guy lost to Ryan Tannehill. Come on, let's just put it out there. I just think Cam, the impact he had on that team, the impact he had on the game, I just think Cam had a better MVP season. That's all I have to say.
Joel, what's your rebuttal to this? I see you laughing a lot.
Where do I start? It's just Riv is so wrong on this one. He's just so wrong on this one. And I'll tell you this. You're not wrong, but you're not right. You're more so wrong than you are right. And I'm going to tell you why.
Talk to me.
Individual success, no question about it. It was Lamar Jackson individually. Team, okay, he made the Super Bowl, and I think it was kind of shady for you to say that he got beat by Ryan Tannehill when this whole time you've been praising Derrick Henry's performance and giving Ryan Tannehill no credit for the past month. So I think that's kind of ironic that you say that now.
Because when you do matchups, you always say quarterback versus
quarterback.
I think that's not fact.
No.
You don't say Lamar Jackson versus the running back. You don't say that.
You gave Derrick Henry the most credit, so give him the credit now. It was against Derrick Henry. He ran all over that defense.
I mean, you did say it, but then you also rebutted me and said he threw 3 touchdowns that game.
That's what I said. I'm talking about what you said.
Me.
I'm talking about what you said.
Yeah. If you rebutted me, then...
Back to the topic. JC, if I'm being honest, Jonathan Stewart and Mark Ingram are around the same player.
Answer that question.
They're kind of the same.
Answer that question.
Wait. Mark Ingram is better, but I think during the end of the season, Jonathan Stewart was coming on really strong, and I think that's what propelled him to get a contract. Oh, Mark Ingram.
Okay.
But Jonathan Stewart was
just
in
right
the scrub. He wasn't
D'Angelo Williams was on that team too, I think. I believe so.
D'Angelo Williams was solid.
He was hurt,
and okay, the three tight ends, all right, fine.
The
three-headed monsters as tight ends, I'll give you that, but Greg Olsen is way better than all of them. Greg Olsen
I said that he was.
At that time,
I said he was an all-pro player, but one tight end versus 3. Come on, bro. Like,
who had the better wideouts?
It's about the same.
Yeah,
it
is. They have the same.
And the defense, Carolina, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Josh Norman.
Yes, that defense was elite.
Julius Peppers.
Did you actually look up Josh Norman's numbers that year and look up Marcus Peters' numbers this year?
Josh Rosen was an all-pro.
Josh Rosen was not all-pro.
Josh Norman was an all-pro that year, bro. The MVP, Cam's MVP year when he went to the Super Bowl.
I didn't ask you that. That's not what I asked you.
Kuechly won DPOY that year.
He did, but I did not ask you that. I asked you, did you look at Josh Norman's numbers and did you look at Marcus Peters' numbers this year?
I'm not going to go by numbers on who's a better corner.
I know you're not.
Everybody knows that year Josh Norman was classified as one of the top corners in the NFL.
You're acting like, because you're naming one corner when first of all, you named one corner, right? You named one corner, right?
It's 2015. Listen. That's a while ago. I'm just talking about the household names.
But you named one corner when the Ravens have Earl Thomas, Marlon Humphreys, Marcus Peters. That's a pretty dangerous 3-headed dragon. I didn't hear you name a 3-headed dragon in the secondary. Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
Their linebackers were 3-headed dragons.
Matthew Judon is pretty good, too. I'm not saying he's Luke Kuechly. I'm not saying that.
Matthew Judon is an edge, though. You can't compare him to the linebackers.
Okay, but you just said linebacker.
But he's an edge, but they're different. Like, linebackers are playing in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. So, but the linebacker, obviously, is Luke Kuechly. So you're going to get that.
And Thomas Davis. He was a Pro Bowler that year, too.
Wasn't Thomas Davis a rush, though?
No, Thomas Davis
is he plays
on the outside.
Okay, so you're gonna get
outside linebacker, left outside linebacker. But it's different.
Judon is a left outside linebacker.
Their schemes are different, bro.
Okay, but Judon is the left outside linebacker.
Yeah, but they play a 3-4.
I understand, but Judon is a left outside linebacker. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But you have the linebacker.
But just
you have the line.
Right,
no, you have the linebacker.
I just want to get this straight. Just because you're the same position doesn't mean you play on the same spot in the field.
I understand that. You have the linebacker argument. Okay, you got that argument. That was.
And the defensive front.
I think they're around the same.
Joel also has a historic stat in his argument for Lamar Jackson that stood up for a while.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this.
I would like to.
Let's
hear
just talk about this because we've been rambling on. I haven't even been talking about Lamar Jackson's impact on his team. One, he's a second-year player. He did something that nobody in NFL history has ever done in his career. Throw for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000. Rushing for 1,000 is the first time in history somebody has ever done it. So
I thought Mike Vick did it.
Mike Vick did not do it.
He didn't do it?
Mike Vick had 1K.
Mike Vick
he was the first QB.
Mike Vick barely had 1K.
But he was the first QB.
Lamar shattered his record, though.
Yeah, Lamar
shattered his record.
Okay.
Okay, you guys are right. But Lamar broke these records.
Impressive.
And while doing this, he had a 113 quarterback rating, an 81 QBR. Cam Newton had a 99.4 QB rating and a 67 QBR.
JC, watch the rebuttal. You ready? Keep going. Go ahead.
So I just don't. And a 67% completion rate. Cam was at a 60%. I think as a quarterback and as a rusher, it's safe to say that Lamar was better than Cam individually. Team, you got it. Cam went to the Super Bowl. No denying that.
I wish you would have looked up who threw more passes. I wish I would have did it too. I should have done it, and that's my fault. You have criticized Lamar Jackson all season on how he is not a good passer. He dunks and dive, and he makes short 5-yard passes. You threw up his pass. You threw up his. He has 3,000 yards. Cam Newton had 3,837 to Lamar's 3,127. Isn't that barely cracking 3,000 yards?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
This is why what you're saying makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. Because, yes, I have criticized Lamar, and I don't think he's a great passer. But I don't think Cam is a great passer either. He barely gets above 50% passing. Like, come on.
That's been a knock
I don't think
on
he's
Cam.
a great passer. But let's just go on to this. Lamar Jackson threw way less passes than Cam, so of course he's going to have way less yards. What you're saying is not making any sense.
But he's also going to have a better percentage. Is that not a fact?
Not if you don't complete your passes.
If you're completing 5-yard passes, there's no way you shouldn't.
Cam Newton could have threw the same and had 59%.
You've pointed out stats where Lamar Jackson throws the easiest pass. He throws little 5-yard dunking dives, little 10 yards here and there. Those are easy passes. Of course, his percentage is gonna look like that. Well, but hold on,
Cam was
because what does the MVP mean?
Most valuable player
To the what?
to the team.
Okay.
To the league. It's the same thing. But I think if Lamar Jackson, if you put RG3 in there, RG3 looked horrible against the Steelers week 17. He would have not.
You put in a guy who didn't play like, come on,
but
bro.
You're telling me.
Are you serious, bro?
You're
Like
telling me.
RG3, that's the guy you want to plug in? Can we pick another guy? Pick another guy.
Let me tell you this.
RG3, bro.
This is
Seriously?
my last and final argument, and
Make
this
it smart.
argument is going to end whatever you had to say.
Make it smart.
Carolina did go 15-1.
Lost to the best
And
defense in
I'll
the
tell you
league.
this. Lamar Jackson did not even play week 17. Cam played week 17.
Yep.
So he inflated his stats a little bit. We're going to say that.
You still probably would have ended up with more yards.
In 2015, the Panthers played 3 playoff teams that year.
Oh.
They played the Texans, the Redskins, and the Seattle Seahawks.
How did they play the Texans?
What do you mean? There's the schedule, bro.
I thought you meant in the playoffs. My
No,
fault.
in
You're saying they played
2015,
3 playoff teams in the regular season. Okay.
So we can say that schedule was easy as hell.
That's true to say.
That schedule, and none of these teams made the Super Bowl.
That's true to say.
The Ravens.
They couldn't have made
the Ravens faced 6 playoff teams, 2 of them being the Chiefs and 49ers that went to the Super Bowl, and they beat the 49ers.
Watch this. They did all that. They did all of that, right? So you would think if a say, for example, you have a team, right? You guys played 3 playoff teams. The rest of the teams are easy. You would think, damn, we didn't play enough competition. I don't know how we're going to look in the playoffs, right? And then you look at my team. We played 6 playoff teams. We dominated them. We looked real good going into the playoffs, right? Your team, your guy, lost to the 9-7 Titans, who were big underdogs walking to the game. That guy, the guy who you said played 3 playoff teams, ended up going to the Super Bowl.
Peyton Manning was horrible that year.
Oh, my God. You're talking about the Super Bowl game, right? Yeah, facts. Did Lamar get there?
No, he didn't get there.
He lost in the what?
But wait.
He lost in the first game he played?
Hold up.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
JC, what did I say to begin my argument?
Just because you said it doesn't make it true.
What did I say?
What did you say?
Lamar Jackson had the better individual season.
Oh, yeah.
Cam had the better team
Just
season.
because he said that doesn't make it true. Because let me ask you a question.
Yes, it does make it true.
If they went 3-13 and he throws up them stats, is he winning MVP?
No.
If he goes 7-9, is he winning MVP? If he doesn't make the playoffs, is he winning MVP?
Nah.
So does it matter? Does making the playoffs matter? It does, right?
It does.
So what are you talking about?
Wait, if Cam went 13-3, he was gonna win the MVP.
No, see, you didn't listen. You got to listen. Open your ears and listen.
That's what you said. Isn't that not what he said?
No, I said if Lamar didn't make the playoffs, would he still won?
That's
MVP
not what you. That's
said?
the second thing you said. The first thing you said
I
was
said if he went 3-13. That's what I said.
You
That's
said
the first
3 and
thing.
13.
That's you got to listen.
Oh.
You're not listening. That's why he's the narrator and you're not. Shh. If Lamar went 3-13, was he gonna win the MVP?
Oh.
If Cam went 1-15 with those numbers, he's gonna win MVP. No, right?
Yeah.
So inevitably, what does it mean to if you make the playoffs? If you don't make the playoffs, are you gonna win the MVP? Are you gonna be in the discussion?
Usually not.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So
but we're talking
So you
about.
can say, listen, MVP, whether it's in
Does playoff success
Wait, so
matter in
like-
this debate?
it should.
Okay, because Lamar didn't
MVP
have
is
a
a
win.
regular season award. It's about the regular
Yeah, so
season.
I don't know why we're talking about the playoffs so much.
I told you the playoffs already.
Okay,
You got it.
okay.
But we're talking about the regular season. MVP, I didn't know they held the MVP in the playoffs. They didn't. They don't. It's a regular season award. In the regular season, Lamar had far better competition than Cam Newton. He had far better numbers. He was more efficient. He did everything better than Cam Newton.
The man threw 5-yard passes. It's not. I can go into the league and throw 5-yard passes and be damn near 80%.
First of all,
it's not hard.
First of all, no, you can't.
You just
Second of all,
throw it to your right.
second of all,
You just throw it to your right.
second of all,
like,
second
come
of all,
on, bro.
I don't know. I think in all your research, you didn't gloss over this
Didn't
number.
Ryan Tannehill have a 100-yard passing rating with 70 yards? That's not hard. Didn't Jimmy G do it one time in a playoff game?
Wait,
it's
I
not
don't
hard,
think- I
bro.
don't think-
It's really not hard.
JC, he didn't do his research because if you look at the stats, Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, both of them were tied for yards per attempt passing, 7.8. Both of them. So, like, you can't not Lamar
You do
Jackson
remember
when they had the
yards.
same
You do know what
attempts.
yards after rack is, right?
Yak, you do have the stat?
No, but you do.
So you can't use the number.
No, but I'm saying though, you just threw out a number. You just said, yo, his 7.8. They both average the same amount of yards. But you do know when you catch the ball, that when you run, that counts towards your yards. You do know that, right?
That's the same thing for Cam though.
But okay,
so
but if you don't know that yard, if you don't know that, if you don't know that number, if you don't know that number, don't bring up how many yards per attempt they do. Don't.
So why did you bring up?
I didn't bring that up.
Yes, you did. He did bring it up.
I didn't bring up that number. I didn't bring up that number.
You didn't bring up that number, but you said he's throwing dink passes.
I'm going off what you've told us all year. I'm going to use what you told us all year.
Dink passes.
Let me ask you, narrator. What has he told us all year? What has he told us all year? What has he told us all year about Lamar?
5-yard passes, fly routes.
What you think is that I think that Cam was exceptional. I don't. I think they're both overrated. I think Cam's overrated too. I saw him last year against Tampa Bay miss open passes.
How are you comparing 2019 Cam to 2015?
I'm just saying. I never was on a Cam Newton. I was never on a Cam Newton train at that point. I'm not on a Lamar train now. But right now we're comparing the two, and Lamar Jackson obviously had the better season. You can say all that stuff you want about Yak, but the Panthers did have a burner in Ted Ginn Jr. that year. Ted Ginn Jr. is known for that. He's a burner.
Just like they have a burner in Marquise Brown, right?
Ted Ginn Jr. I think at that point was better than Marquise Brown right now. So
I doubt it. I mean, they do the same thing. I mean, you can make the argument, but they're probably
good.
Here.
Marquise Brown was a rookie though. Ted Ginn was experienced.
They probably have the same amount of yards.
Ted Ginn burned Reeves.
I'm just saying,
right.
Lamar Jackson by far had the better individual year.
We need
Team success. It was Cam Newton.
Team success.
Individually, it was Lamar Jackson.
His numbers attributed to winning.
It was nothing. It was so they didn't have the number like they
Don't
didn't
do
have
it.
a top.
They both
didn't have
had top. They both had elite defenses. So you can't even do that.
Carolina had a better defense.
But they both had
Carolina
elite
had a
defenses.
better
But they both had elite. What was Carolina's ranking defensively?
They should have been.
They should have been.
number
You
one.
don't
top
know.
two.
Hold on. You don't say anything. What were they?
They're
They
probably
probably you don't know.
If they wasn't one, they
You
should have
don't
been
know.
one.
If you don't know, don't speak about it. That's it. Simple. If
Wait,
you don't know,
so correct me if you do know.
I don't. That's why I
So
didn't
for
say
all
anything.
you know, I could be right and you're wrong.
Oh no,
and
you're
making
definitely
all
wrong.
this
I know
fuss
you're
for
wrong.
nothing.
Oh no, I'm most definitely because you're talking about they're probably, but you don't know. So if you don't know, don't speak about it. Simple. Don't talk about something you don't know about.
Let's move on,
Silliness.
fellas.
Moving on to an NBA topic. This NBA topic is the NBA Hall of Fame too easy to get into. There's a lot of players in the Hall of Fame right now that are probably undeserving of it in the eyes of most fans. Right now, I have Riv and JC. They're going to shed light to all of it. So I'm going to start with you, JC.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the NBA Hall of Fame is way too easy to get into?
Yes. And let me tell you why. This is going to sound crazy, but I mean, a Nets player, Drazen Petrovic, who had honestly a 2-year run where he scored 20 points per game, 22 points per game, was a 2-time All-Star, got in. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the NBA Hall of Fame is judged off your impact rather than your play most of the times. Because there's a lot of guys there's a lot of fringe Hall of Fame guys. Like, you can call Joe Johnson a fringe Hall of Famer. But how are you gonna give the nod to Drazen Petrovic, who's a 2-time All-Star that didn't have better stats, more consistency than Joe Johnson, who was a 7-time All-Star in his career, had a lot of pretty good playoff runs. He was a steady player in his career. You know what I mean? So I really think that the NBA Hall of Fame is a little too easy to get into, and I think a lot of players that should be in there are left out, and I think a lot of players that should not be in there are in there.
What's your take on it, Riv?
I think we have the same answer, but I think we have our different takes on who should realistically be in the Hall of Fame. I've been very, JC knows this, I've been very vocal about the Hall of Fame and how weak it is and how they use college basketball and what you did in high school and what you did overseas as a means to define what you should do in the Hall of Fame. I think if it's the Hall of Fame and everything should be included, then damn near almost every NBA player is going to get in.
But to be fair, is it called the Basketball Hall of Fame?
I think
or the
it's
NBA?
called the Naismith Hall. But if you asked us, is the NBA Hall... So, NBA Hall of Fame? Yes, and I'm going to tell you why.
Should Joe Johnson be a Hall of Famer?
No. That was never even... No. I'm going to tell you why. The way I look at it, Hall of Famers, I guess we could go off ballots. Michael Jordan. LeBron James going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Magic Johnson.
Kobe.
Kareem. Guys like that. Now you got Tim Duncan. Look what they all have accomplished. They were at least in one point of their lives the best player on the planet. If not the best player, they were the best player at their position. Mm-hmm. Or at least top 3. Mm-hmm. James Harden is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Steph Curry is going to be a first ballot. Kevin Durant is going to be a first ballot. Westbrook is going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame. Those are guys who have one point in their lives been the best player on the planet, if not the best player on the planet, the best player at his position. Also, James Harden has an MVP. He has a record, 36 points.
36.1 points per game.
Come on. Westbrook, 3 triple-doubles, a 30-point 10 and 10. Steph Curry, arguably one of the greatest seasons to ever be played. Kevin Durant, 32, 8 and 8. Come on, MVP. These guys are, it's eye test and what you've accomplished. Guys like, I'm sorry, guys like.
Don't mention it yet. You
want me
I
to
know
wait
what you're gonna say. Don't mention it yet.
All right, so I'm gonna wait because I feel like that question is gonna come up. So
Everything that you see on the paper is gonna come up.
I'm gonna let you all answer that next question. But yes, I do think the NBA Hall of Fame is way too easy, and we should definitely knuckle it down.
So this is my next question, and this next question is gonna bounce into the next one. So, should production outweigh celebrity or accomplishments? And by that, I mean
stats.
Should stats matter more than a player who might not have the stats, but he has the accomplishments like a championship, all-stars, playoff appearances? So do you think that production should matter more than celebrity?
I absolutely think that production should matter more than celebrity. So far, James Harden hasn't won a championship. And if we put the impact, the side-by-side stats in terms of where he stands amongst the players at his position, every position, he has better stats. The only thing he's missing is a championship. I think that's the most overrated stat, winning championships, because it's a team. It's a team accomplishment. You know what I mean? The Finals MVP is a player accomplishment. But are you going to sit here and knock James Harden, who's one of the best scorers that we've ever seen, pick up the basketball? Are you going to really sit here and say that that his Hall of Fame status shouldn't matter more than someone like Steph Curry because he doesn't have the championships? I think it needs to be strictly weighed in on stats because that's for the players. That's what they do. James Harden has great statistical numbers. Yep. You cannot argue with that.
Boom. My turn, right?
Go ahead.
Let me tell you why that doesn't make sense.
Team sport.
No.
It is.
Stats. And this is what I hate with the new young people. Stats in today's game are like steroids. They're basically stats on steroids. The game is the freedom of movement. You get a lot more possessions, just fast pace, a lot of threes, straight threes and layups. Now, I'm not saying production should be disregarded. I think if you're putting up the productions, eventually you're going to get recognized, and James Harden got recognized. He won the MVP.
So you think rings, what would you rank more? Just a side question, production or
rings
accomplishments?
I think if you add rings to an argument, it really
strengthens.
It really comes into head to head. Who's greater? Who's greater? For example, I guess we could use who. People say D Wade is better than James Harden, right? People say that, and you hear all the time. And what do they say? The same thing. You saw D Wade at his best on the best stage of them all, right? Say D Wade 2006. That's all they bring up because that's all. And we all know if James Harden gets one, he eclipses D Wade. Everybody knows that. You think James Harden eclipses him already?
I
but
think that's true.
Most people think if James Harden gets the one, and I agree. If James Harden gets the one, because he already has the MVP, he already has the All NBA teams, which is important.
Scoring record.
He has the scoring number. He has
Assists.
everything. He just doesn't have that ring, which in reality, it puts you over the top. And I don't think it's fair because it's not fair because some organizations don't put the necessary pieces, or sometimes it's just unfair. You run into the super
Injuries.
teams, so to say. But great players make it work. And if you're that great, you find a way to make it work eventually. You got to find a way to make it work. At least we're not even asking James Harden just get there. But just at least ask him just to get there, just to at least get to one as the man and say, yeah, I got there. Yeah, I lost, but I got there, and I put on a show.
Okay, Rev, I'm gonna stop you there because I'm gonna ask this final question. But I just want to ask you. I just want to make this statement. You could tell James Harden to get there, but I think it's pretty hard to get there when you're going up against the best team to ever be assembled in NBA history.
That's fair to say.
So
he wasn't always playing against them, but that's fair to say.
True. I'll ask you both this question. I hope that I get a different answer from both of you.
Oh, you will.
I feel like I might not.
You know how I feel about Kyle Lowry.
You should ask somebody else. You should ask. You know who you should ask? You should ask somebody else.
Should Kyle Lowry be in the NBA Hall of Fame? A player who's been to many All-Star games. He has a championship. He has a lot of accolades. He's been a solid player. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? Rev, give me your answer.
No, he does not have a lot of accolades. He is just an all-star. He's probably made one All-NBA team. He's never made an All-Defensive team. I don't really count All-Rookie awards to you're a rookie. Nobody cares about that. He doesn't have a record. He has a ring, but he doesn't have a Finals MVP. He's been distraught in playoff series. He's had 0-point games. He showed up maybe 2 times every 2 years in playoff series. Kyle Lowry has never, in my life, I've seen him as a top 5 point guard in the league ever. He's been fringe 6-7, but top 5. I've never seen Kyle Lowry as that. So, no, I wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame. I think he's one of those just good players that's played in the league, or that's the great players that's just played in the league. That's it.
What's your take on it?
Yes, Kyle Lowry should definitely be an NBA Hall of Famer. And I'm going to go back to that same point. Drazen Petrovic, who has no accolades, who has nothing. I
don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Is in the Hall of Fame. Okay, but that's a fact. He's in the Hall of Fame.
But he asked me personally, do I think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
Kyle Lowry, even though he wasn't the main culprit, he was a part of that Toronto Raptors team, that expansion team that won.
Third best player.
That won their.
He was the third best player.
I mean, what, throughout the whole playoffs or in that final series?
If you end the season totality,
cool.
He was the third best player.
Fine. He helped them get their first championship.
To be fair, I think that Kyle Lowry deserves credit because he was there throughout all those years.
And
he does need credit for being a Toronto legend.
He balled out Game 6.
He did. Toronto should put up a statue for Kyle Lowry.
A statue? They should hang up his shit.
Real shit. He's their best point guard ever.
He should retire the jersey.
Okay, wait. Better person.
Is he better than Damon Stoudemire?
Yeah, he is.
I hope Damon Stoudemire is not in the Hall of Fame.
Nah, Damon Stoudemire is not in the Hall of Fame.
People
but listen.
He goes into the conversation of like the Melos and the Vince Carters, the guys who.
Wait, who? Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, the guys who have talent and didn't get a lot of accolades.
Wait, no, I don't agree with that.
He
got a ring.
The only thing that really goes against Kyle Lowry.
Team sport though.
I said that.
Nah, he said it.
Oh, you didn't agree
only
with
thing that
I do, but let JC talk.
Yeah.
He's dying to talk.
Facts. The only thing that you could make a case for Kyle Lowry not being an All-Star is how his career started. We're talking about a man who probably got better when he was 26. Now, I want to point you this out. He's had 2 20 points per game scoring seasons on pretty good efficiency. Just last year, he was top 5 in assists. So we're talking about a dude that expands his game. And in the biggest stage of them all, he's had very bad playoff series. We know that he's had games, but in the game won them the championship in that first quarter, he looked amazing. So and let's just say he's got All-Stars.
Okay.
He's got the assist numbers. He's been a very consistent point guard for the past 7 years. All-Star starter. I'm gonna go back to my point. Drazen Petrovic, no accolades, 2 All-Stars. Kyle Lowry, a 6 or 7-time All-Star, a championship, and has been a consistent player for the past 7 to 8 years.
So I got a better question.
I like this. I think he should be in.
I think that it's fair to say we all would agree that Kemba Walker is better than Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
But you'd put Kyle Lowry over Kemba if we have a Hall of Fame conversation.
Yes,
I would.
Of
course.
Because they both have all-star appearances, and one guy has the ring. That's how.
And one guy's and Lowry's a better passer than Kemba.
But you look at their accolades, and their accolades are dry and it's weak. You look at their argument,
Kemba's in his prime.
He's made All-Star games. Okay, All-Star
started All-Star games.
That's great. All-Star games are fan voted. The last couple of years, you get voted in, and let's be realistic. Kyle Lowry has never been the best point guard in the East or the West, even when he was in the West or in the East. We're talking about the golden age of point guards.
You got Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook. You got dogs at the point guard position.
It's fair to say that Kyle Lowry.
It's not fair to.
It's fair to say that Kyle Lowry did have all those playoff blunders.
Has Kyle Lowry ever been elite?
I don't think so. But I think it's fair to say that he did have those playoff blunders. But I think winning the championship with that team, with Kawhi and Siakam and those guys, it kind of changed the narrative on him.
I don't think one series changes the narrative.
One series doesn't change the narrative, but that definitely helped.
I mean, when you win a championship, it changes a lot.
Yeah, it changes
the narrative a lot.
Okay.
Like, we know if James Harden wins the championship, the narrative on him.
Well, James Harden's a way better player than Kyle Lowry.
James Harden's going to win the championship
by being the best player.
James Harden's going to win the championship being the best player on the court. Kyle Lowry wasn't. He may have been the best player on the court for a game, but he wasn't the best player on the court for a series. He didn't win Finals MVP.
He might have been the second best defensive player on the court, though.
That's great.
His defense
most
huge.
charges taken in the finals.
That's really incredible. I mean, shout out to him. That was awesome. But let's just be realistic. Kyle Lowry shouldn't take the ring away. Take the ring away. What does he have?
If you take the ring away,
you can't take the ring away because he has.
No, I'm just asking. No, if you take the ring away,
I'm pretty sure if we go through the NBA Hall of Fame. If we look at all the players that are in, there's going to be players that have less All-Stars and no rings that are in there.
You as an NBA and I'm asking you. You, based off what you think a Hall of Famer is.
Okay, so I will say this. Drazen Petrovic should not be in the Hall of Fame.
No, there's a lot of guys that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Bill Walton shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
If we're doing that, then without the ring and everything, and I'm taking out guys like Petrovic, then Kyle Lowry really can't be a Hall of Famer. But he has the ring, and there's guys like Petrovic and other guys who
I just feel like
he has more All-Stars than Reggie Miller. I just want to point that out there. Reggie Miller's a Hall of Famer.
I just feel like we're letting people in the Hall of Fame because of they're putting up gaudy numbers in a stat heavy league. Like guys who have won maybe 2 third teams in their life, just been consistent All-Stars. That doesn't really show me anything. You've been an All-Star. That's great. That All-Star proves you've been one of the best players for 45 games. That's awesome. That's incredible. But did you finish out the year being one of the best players for now this season? Did you make an All-NBA team? Did you go into the playoffs? Did you show out? That's why I think, like, honestly, the Hall of Fame needs to be fixed, and we need to add some criteria. Because I agree, Drazen Petrovic should not be a Hall of Famer.
And I'm a Nets fan saying this.
I think that you have a solid argument, but I also think that where it's kind of flawed is that I think you're holding Kyle Lowry to a first ballot Hall of Fame standard. I think that there's like ballast to it. Like, nobody will put him first ballot.
Who would be a third string Hall of Famer?
I think guys like Joe Johnson.
Guys that won't get in their first year, maybe not even their second year.
If I had to really sit here and make one, people like Vince Carter would be a third ballot. Vince Carter and Kyle Lowry are worlds apart.
Vince Carter's better.
Worlds apart. And you mean to tell me Kyle Lowry will be in the third ballot Hall of Famer? And Joe Johnson?
Because Vince Carter hasn't really. I mean, he's an elite. He's an elite talent, but he hasn't really done anything.
I know.
But Vince Carter's production, I think that I don't think that it's that far apart. I think that his prime years, but like their career side by side, it's not like this.
Him playing right now is messing up his career averages too.
But I think any basketball player.
But even when he went to Phoenix, he was in Orlando. Like these are places that when he went to Orlando, they thought Orlando was about to make a run and they didn't.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So being an All-Star 7 times makes you a Hall of Famer. Is what you. So Paul George is a Hall of Famer.
I mean, listen.
If he wins the championship, he might be.
He has, but because he's has all NBA teams. He has all defensive teams.
So then he would be a Hall of Famer.
His career, you put it to with Kyle Lowry, is better than Kyle Lowry.
So he would be a Hall of Famer.
All Kyle Lowry has is what you love to say, a team award, which is the trophy.
Well, I say, man, Toronto was an expansion team that had no championships. He was an integral part to that team winning a championship.
I understand that.
So
Melo's going to make the Hall of Fame, right?
Of course.
I think he's like second ballot guy, though. I don't think he's a third ballot. No way. He's a second ballot guy.
He's second ballot. He's talent.
Melo's a second ballot guy.
Is he better than Paul Pierce?
Paul Pierce is in the second talent.
That's the closest.
But they're
so Paul Pierce is the third ballot?
Yeah, Paul
Where
Pierce
would you rank Ray Allen?
Ray Allen would be a third ballot.
Third
What?
ballot.
One of the
Second ballot
all-time
is like
three-point
the
shooters made.
I
Clutch
think the
shots,
first ballot,
championships.
first ballot are like the guys you would consider top 5 ever. Like the guys you can make arguments for a top 5 ever. I think second ballot is like the next guys up, the John Stocktons, the Karl Malones.
I think John Stockton's Karl Malone and John Stockton are first ballot.
Yeah, they are.
If the way you're basing, I'm going off what you're basing off. You need a ring to be considered at that high level.
They have a lot of records though.
He
has the all-time steals, the all-time assist
steals.
steals. Karl Malone's second all-time in points.
Yeah,
A
they're
great
first
rebounder.
ballot.
You just threw Kyle Lowry up as a third ballot just because he has a ring. Just because he has a ring.
Yeah, because I think that ring. I think that the ring matters.
Well,
that
nobody's.
much.
I don't think
nobody's arguing
There is
that Kyle
nobody
Lowry is better than Karl Malone
No, I'm
and
not
John
saying.
Stockton.
I'm saying you threw him up as a third ballot. You literally just said if he didn't have that ring, you wouldn't put him at third ballot.
I wouldn't.
So because he got a ring, a team award that you guys love to say, you automatically boost him to third ballot.
You're missing the option. You're missing the point. It's not my opinion. It's just facts.
No,
but it's also we know. Let's be
Drazen
honest.
Petrovic has nothing. He's in the Hall of Fame. It's facts.
Let's be honest here, though. If John Stockton and Karl Malone were to win a ring,
they would be first ballot easily.
No, they're first ballot right now, but how we view them now, history, it'd be so much
Where would
different.
you view John Stockton if he gets a ring?
He might be a top 3-point guard of all time.
Why is he not a top 3-point guard right now? Who's better than him?
Magic Johnson, Stephen Curry.
That's it. That's literally it. You would throw Isaiah over him?
Yo, Isaiah got some. You can. Yeah, you're gonna hate me for saying this, and I know it's like really not fair to compare, but I mean Westbrook. Even though he don't got the accolades, Westbrook.
I don't know. You can.
I love old school, but I respect John Stockton. I think John Stockton
plays.
I think John Stockton plays the game. I think John Stockton plays the game better than Russell Westbrook. But if you just want to talk about the stats and the MVP,
like Karl Malone, he's a top 3 power forward of all time.
No, I don't think so.
What?
I don't think
Karl
so.
Malone.
That's another discussion.
All right, but let's just say he's a top 5. A top 5. You said the Hall of Fame should be. First ballot should be for players who were top 5 in their position.
I think should be. I didn't.
No, you said top 5 in the league or number 1 in their position.
I think who the guys who you can honestly name are top 5 greatest players ever, or number 1 or 2 at their position.
Yeah, but I think top 5 greatest players ever. That's way too much.
You're
making these standards like
you would never ever in your life ever even think about saying John Stockton is a top 5 player ever.
But I'd say top 5 point guard. Yeah,
I wouldn't say Karl Malone's a top 5 player ever.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even think you would throw him in the top 10. Would you throw him in the top 10?
I think if you're top 5,
exactly.
I think if you're top 5,
wait, you're top 5. You guys just said Westbrook's better. You said
I didn't say Westbrook's better.
I said
you said that. You said that. You just said that. You just said that.
We can run the tape back. All I said was that John Stockton plays the game better, but Russell Westbrook has better stats.
Do you think Westbrook
is
better?
different eras. I'm not going to answer that.
It's different eras.
Different eras.
Do you think Westbrook is a better basketball
player? It's different eras. You don't respect Westbrook's stats because you say the stats here are inflated.
I just called him a Hall of Famer.
You know what I mean? I agree with you. The stats are inflated.
So Westbrook will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
But listen though, so look, you really want to do this? Does John Stockton have an MVP?
No, he doesn't.
Has John Stockton ever averaged a triple-double 3 years in a row?
I'm literally helping you.
You can say Westbrook is the more complete player than him.
John Stockton probably never put up 20 points in his life.
He didn't, but he had a lot of assists, a lot of steals.
He did. Yes,
he orchestrated one
that.
of the most unstoppable moves in basketball history, the pick and roll. What? Are you crazy? Bro, that's how he got all his assists with Karl Malone.
Okay, we're gonna debate this. We're gonna have this topic another day. Right now, we're going to dive in deep into the Warriors, a team who has cemented their legacy in NBA. So, here you go, Rev. Take the stage and moderate this one because you didn't want to debate it.
Because it was silly. I'm interested to see what you idiots have to say.
Let's go.
You got Steph returning. Well, with this coronavirus, I don't know when the NBA is coming back. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you get Steph back, you get Clay back, you got the number 1 pick in the draft.
Draymond Green.
You got Draymond Green, you got Kevin Looney back.
Pascal.
You got Eric Pascal. You got guys looking like a reload year. Can the Warriors go on another 3-year run like they did in 2015, 2016, and 2017?
it really pains me to say it because I don't like Steph Curry. I don't like Draymond Green.
I don't know how he's so magical.
I could bear Klay Thompson. I could bear him.
And Eric Pascal.
You like Eric Pascal?
And I love me some Wiggins.
Do you really?
He called me OD.
Okay, but look, they can go on a 3-year run because they have all the assets to. Let's just dive deep into what they have going on for them. You got Steph Curry, the best point guard in the league.
Say that again. Wait. Say that again.
Steph Curry is the best point guard in the NBA.
Okay.
Klay Thompson is probably the second best shooting guard, the third best we can say.
Something like that.
When healthy. Draymond Green paired with those guys, because without him he sucks. But
yeah, without him he's horrible.
Paired with them, he's one of the better players in the NBA. Just those glue guys. You have Wiggins, who I think if let's say you got an ISO on the top of the key with Wiggins, you got Curry out there, Thompson, Pascal, Damian Lee, and
so
Wiggins.
You think he could be a better Harrison Barnes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's more talented.
Then you got come on, you just got so much talent. And Pascal's coming on. Damian Lee's solid. Kayvon Looney, he's solid. Good, and then they have the best chance to get the number 1 pick in the draft, which they can use to flip the pick, or they can use to draft a player like Anthony Edwards, LaMelo. I personally believe that if Wiseman isn't there, you trade the pick.
Me too.
I don't if Wiseman isn't there, you trade the pick.
I don't see them picking the guard. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But also you got Minnesota Timberwolves.
With Obi Toppin?
Obi Toppin is an option too. And Obi Toppin would fit perfectly with them. But that's another thing.
You could trade Draymond. Yeah. Grab him.
And for trading Minnesota, by trading for D'Lo, got Minnesota's first round pick next year. And Minnesota is a big chance that they might be horrible.
And next year's class is crazy.
So Warriors are stacked. They're loaded. Even though they got these salaries paid to Draymond, to Curry, to Thompson, they're going to be loaded again. And I hate it because it's we can't catch a break as a fan. This franchise,
as a James Harden fan,
this franchise has been so lucky for so long. It's about time it's somebody else's turn. And I just want to say this: the time when you think it's somebody else's turn, which was this year, the NBA gets canceled or the NBA suspended. It might get canceled. If we don't have a champion this year, it's gonna be so annoying because no team had a chance to win. And it might be the Warriors again in the next 3 years.
I hope you don't think that the team that was going to win a championship this year was the Rockets.
They have a chance.
JC, take the floor, man.
Okay,
what you think? Can they go on the 3-year run?
I like the Warriors. I like Steph Curry. I'm a fan. But I'm going to say no. And the reason that I'm going to say no is because the Western Conference is getting better. You got the Clippers, who are a stacked team. You have the Lakers, who are a stacked team. You have Houston, who's still a good team. Mind you, I'm talking about these Warriors without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was the best player on that team. He made a big difference. You got guys like Luka Doncic coming up. A lot of people are gonna probably want to play with him in Dallas. You got a lot of young and up and coming teams. I'm a big Klay Thompson fan. Don't know how he's gonna come back next year. Draymond Green seems to get worse every year as the years progress. Steph Curry's coming off a bad hand injury, but I feel like he'll be a good player. Andrew Wiggins, a great player.
Yeah,
I feel like Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins. You said great player, or you said
I said Steph. My bad. Yeah, Steph Curry's a great player. Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins. I have been on record. Was on record saying that I feel like they're gonna unlock a beast in him. No, I'm calling myself out.
You said a beast.
But with everything that comes along, Andrew Wiggins could be a complete misfit for this team. So look, so my thing is basically on just Klay Thompson coming back. The West is getting better. I'm gonna ask you two men right here. Do you think the Warriors, with a team constructed now coming off all these injuries without Kevin Durant, you're gonna give them the nod over the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, over the Clippers who have so many defenders, over Houston, who you've been on record, not trying to call you out on anything, you've been on record saying that without Kevin Durant that they can beat them. Mm-hmm. So
that's without Durant, not adding Wiggins.
Exactly.
That's not adding these other players.
Yeah, but none of them are Kevin Durant.
You asked me a question.
Yeah, so what do you think?
I want to answer.
And you got good teams like Denver. Don't want to leave them out.
LeBron and Cleveland so dangerous when they play Steph Curry.
He said stir.
Yeah, my fault. Is that Kyrie can match Steph's energy.
He's better than him.
That's what made it so dangerous when the Cavs played the Warriors. Kyrie can match Steph's energy. You don't have that now. You got Rajon Rondo. You got Avery Bradley. So now
LeBron's paying the point.
Yeah, so I mean, LeBron's not going to guard Steph Curry, and you're going to tire him out the game because Steph's just going to run around the court.
You got Danny Green and Avery Bradley for that.
This what I believe.
Are you just going to cut me off?
You meant because you were the moderator. You're not the debater.
He asked me a question. I have a question for you guys, so go ahead. Let's finish. I ask a question.
You said Denver. I think the Denver Nuggets are as soft as McNuggets. I don't think that they're.
Says the Rockets.
I don't think that they're gonna contend this year, next year, years to come.
Then they gotta get rid of Gary Harris and get a better shooting guard.
Unless Michael Porter takes like a superstar leap, they're not gonna compete.
He's only 20.
But this the thing.
I doubt it.
And when he plays, he's good.
You gotta understand that we're talking about next season. If we're talking about next season, we're talking about the Clippers potentially losing Montrezl Harrell.
That's his name, Trezor?
Montrezl Harrell.
I call him Trezor.
I don't know.
I call him Trezor.
Montrezl Harrell. They're losing him. They're losing Marcus Morris. They're losing somebody else on that team.
They're probably gonna only be Jackson and Morris are probably gone. They're probably gonna only be able to pay Harrell.
I wouldn't pay either the Jackson or Marcus.
Reggie Jackson's not bad. You could probably pay him for low.
There's more people that are more important.
But I'm saying like I just don't think that team. I don't know. I think that Golden State would have the nod over them if, let's say, Klay Thompson is Klay Thompson.
And Draymond Green goes back to Draymond Green, not this Walmart version that Charles Barkley called.
That team is scary because you don't have two players that can guard Paul George and Kawhi. That's why it's like Kawhi really kills Klay. Like, so no offense.
What's your question that you're going to ask?
I have my you said you don't think the 3-year run. I don't want to – people assume when you say 3-year run – automatically, in order for them to be as great as they once was, they got to win the championship again. Would you consider them consistently making the playoffs and making runs to the WCF and maybe one more time to the championship and losing? Would you consider that still success?
Oh, yeah. I think fully healthy, they'll make the playoffs every single year. They might not win a championship all 3 years. They probably won't, but they'll win a championship probably. There's a chance of that. There's a big chance of that.
And what would you think what would hurt this run the most? If you had to choose one thing, what would hurt this run the most? Because Steph Curry is turning 32 next year. Klay Thompson's 30.
I think
Draymond's
something that
30.
would hurt this run is a first-round elimination.
Elimination.
Yes, and it would hurt it more if you even have home field, if you have home court advantage. Because if you're like 1 through 4, you have home court. I keep saying field. You got everything that's working towards you. Got your fans and everything. If the Warriors are gonna come back in this 3-year run and lose in the first round, Steph Curry's gonna get critiqued really, really, really horribly. And I just think that losing that, you're done.
Brings me to my final question. About this: Kevin Durant or Steph Curry? Who do you think is gonna win a championship first? Let's say 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years. In the next 3 to 4 years, who do you think, if you had to pick, hypothetically, who do you think is going to either make the championship or win the championship first?
Steph Curry.
Why?
Because I don't believe in the Nets. That's why. Like,
JC, go ahead.
Kevin Durant.
And why do you say that?
That team is constructed perfectly for him. Now, if they can get him a good coach in town. I like Jacque Vaughn. Don't think he's a championship level coach. He'd be a good assistant coach. You can get that team healthy. You got Kyrie Irving, big if, but
that's a big.
You just got a lot of solid players. You got a lot of people that can score.
I don't think Joe Harris and Jared Allen are coming back.
I think Joe Harris will come back. I think Jared Allen has a chance of leaving, whatever. But I think that team is, and you got DeAndre Jordan, who's a solid big man. I think that team overall is better than the Warriors. I do. I think they're a better team than the Warriors. And you just add someone like Kevin Durant, who's better than Steph Curry.
Don't worry, because years down the line, Kevin Durant's going to go on a podcast and be like, the Nets didn't have enough ball handlers and shooters.
If he does that, I'll dead violate him.
And he'll be like, oh, man, look at the coach that we had. We didn't have a good coach. He'll just go and complain. But that wraps up this episode of Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.
Brooklyn.